Good evening, everybody, and thanks a lot to Jain University and its management for giving me an opportunity to be part of your faculty development program and address all of you. So, quick audio check, and let me see if am I audible? Is it clear? Can you see me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Okay. So, today's topic is about how to use Gen AI and especially the prompting side. I'm sure many of you would have already given a try and might be using on the regular day to day basis. I'm trying to see if we can take a pause and try to see those smaller nuances that can help you save time and also get a better response. So, I have prepared some slides for you where we are trying to understand that intricate or smaller detailing that was done, that is inside all these products. And generally, these techniques are not specific to, say, a one product, one LLM product, or one Gen AI product. These techniques are very common and those can be used across different Gen AI products. So, let's get started. As you already heard that we have a company by name Algorithms 365, and we are into skilling and placements and trying to do faculty development programs and student skilling program. We are based out of Bangalore. We started very recently, about a year and a half ago, and then we have a lot of content, free as well as paid, available on our platforms. So prior to this, I did work at Microsoft search engine Bing for almost 1 decade, and then I also worked at Microsoft Teams team for about 6 years, and worked in various Microsoft development centers in Seattle in USA and in Hyderabad and Bangalore. So today's topic is, what are the prompts and why should you care? So, prompts, these prompts that we give to Gen AI, so they are almost like you get a feeling that, okay, you have a friend who is listening to you sometime and sometime probably not listening to you, and sometime, being more naughty, or sometime just ignoring you. I'm sure if you have been using Gen AI products regularly, you will suddenly see that there is certain thing that you want, but it is denying to you give you that information, or it is denying to give you in that format or in the way you wanted it, and it will take multiple back and forth cycles to get what you really want, right? So I would say it is similar to that, friend. In these slides, I'm trying to use this slide view because we'll go back and forth, so we'll learn the concept and we'll immediately try it on ChatGPT. So if you are in front of your laptop, please open ChatGPT on another tab. So some of these examples, we will be trying it on the ChatGPT and see those patterns. So can I join that meeting through my another terminal just as a chat? So the moderator can allow me. I will just add this laptop as a device so that I can send those prompts on the chat. So I'm just connecting. Okay, I am in the meeting. So I'll be sharing some of those charts that you should try. So please open ChatGPT on your laptop. Now the very first one. So what are prompts and why we should care, that we discussed? So this is a prompt that you all can see. Tell me about space. So when you give very generic input, like say just tell me about the space, then you get thrown very random things. And a good prompt, let's say I'm trying to explain it to my 10-year-old child, so then I'll say explain space exploration to 10-year-old using pizza as an analogy. I'm just making it up. And at that time, something like this is what the Gen AI products will tell you. They'll say that the crust is Earth's orbit and toppings are its satellites, and the cheese is a space debris which we all pretend doesn't exist. So that context, saying that it is for a 10-year-old and I need an analogy to make that child understand, really helps ChatGPT or any other GenAI product to give that enhanced understanding. So you can try this out. I'll just send this prompt. I'll send this good prompt and bad prompt on the chat. So on your laptop, you can just copy paste this prompt and see how ChatGPT would respond. So this is the very simplest of the example. We are starting with very simple examples to just get you started. So I am assuming here everybody has an account and you are using ChatGPT. If you don't have an account, there is an option to try it without creating an account. So chatgpt.com is the URL. So if somebody you are like trying to use it for the first time, then please use this link. And don't try wasting your time in creating the account. You can directly do it without creating the account also. So this is one of the simple example, and now when you see it, so this is where it's giving an example. So what is a pizza, what would the rockets be, what the satellites would be, what the moon would be. And one I'm using is the paid version. So the one I'm using is a paid version. So what happens is it will show a lot more details. Okay, now let's go to the second example. Are you all following it? Let me know if I have to stop somewhere in the middle and if you have a question. So next one. Let's say I'm working on a task and my brain is filled with lot of thoughts about it. And it also is filled with lot of context. And then I want to take help of GenAI and I go to the website. It is psychologically very natural for anybody to imagine that my computer should know what context I am in, right? But there is no connection between our brain and our laptop or our mobile phone. So the AI cannot read your mind yet. We haven't got that breakthrough yet. So it means as a person you have to give that context. Say for example, I just said give some text in English and ask it to convert to French. I'll just say translate this. That's one way to ask. The other way to ask is translate this short note from English to French for Valentine's Day card. Make it romantic but not cheesy. Now what do you observe here? How is that context is being given? The context is given saying that what is the source language, what is the destination language. Second, a little bit about what this message contains, which is about Valentine's Day. And third, and the most important thing, please observe the tone of that message. The tonality or the tone of the message has been said as make it romantic but not cheesy. So this ends up giving you better output. And I'll send this prompt and parallelly, you can try it out on your laptops. So let me try. Let me try that prompt here on my machine. So I'll say write a short note in English for and ignore the spelling mistakes. So the search engines and chat GPTs are good enough to ignore the spelling mistake. To save some time, I'm just typing with some speed. So now we have something. So I didn't read what that message is. So I'll give the prompt. And then I'll copy paste this below, right? And enter. So now you have a message in French with the right tone, right? So you have by giving that context and giving that detail, you have the right thing. Now let's see the first one. What was the first one? First one was about that, the whole idea of what is a good prompt and bad prompt. The second one is about providing the context in your prompt. And the third one is about assigning the role or persona. So you may be thinking, how does it help? What does that mean? Say for example, I will ask ChatGPT saying explain blockchain, right? So now let's try that query, okay? Explain blockchain. We'll ask ChatGPT first. I'll also send that query to all of you on the chat. Go ahead and copy paste this query and see what does it respond. So you can see that it is telling what is a blockchain, how it works, money transfer, key features, right? Very lot of details. And it really doesn't know, like, at what depth do you need, at 10,000 feet, do you need at 2,000 feet, do you need at 5,000 feet? It really doesn't know it, right? Now instead of saying like this, what if we say, act as a 90s school teacher explaining blockchain with a chalkboard example with some SaaS here is software as service. Okay, so this is the second query, where what is the important word you all have to observe here is act as 90s school teacher. Act as is a keyword. Now you may be asking, why does, how does it matter, right? How does it matter? As you all know, when LLMs were done, right? So how these LLMs were built? How these LLMs were built? The entire internet, internet information, especially, all the Wikipedias and websites, then all the books, many of the books which are digitalized, and within internet, like I said, the entire Wikipedia, and thousands of websites which have these blogs and content. So when all of this was used, that initial LLM, the very first LLM that came in, so let's say you give some task, right? And then what it would happen, it would look at all that knowledge graph in the form of neural network, and you would get an output. And like people who are from computer science background, we probably will get it very easily, but for non-computer science background, one of the detail about the LLM I'll tell you, which you will really get surprised. How does an ChatGPT work? How does the GenAI products work? It is nothing but correlation of multiple words. Let's say, how is weather in Bangalore, right? So weather is cold. By training with huge set of data over the period of time, with so much of reading so many facts and sentences, it has built a neural network model where that relation between, right? So weather is cold, weather is hot, weather is humid. So like this, it has identified the relationship between the words. And whenever it produces one word, it will see, okay, what is the probability that what would be the next word? What would be the next word? And that is based on the context that it has so far. So the very rudimentary, the GPT-1 that came, it was working purely on this, so it would produce a lot of invalid result, hallucinate, or produce some garbage. So it used to really throw out a lot of not so great answers. And then it took insane amount of training, where they say this is my input, and then it will say this is my output. And initially some human judges would mark it as, okay, this is good, this is bad. Then again they would try some input, then it would get some output, and then some human judges would go and say this is good and this is bad, like that. And this is called labeling, and this labeled data was again refed back for training, and this is called reinforcement learning. So what does this work? It is basically a reward system, like the way, let's say, we are training a child, or you are training some pet. What we do, if they show good behavior and say good actions, then you reward them with something. And if they don't show some good behavior, or then you punish them in some way, right? So this reinforcement learning works in a very simplistic way, this way, where for a good answer you reward, and for bad answer you say that this was not a good judgment. And based on that, the quality of GPT has been evolving and it's going up and up. Now, where does this act come in? So the moment you say act as a teacher, act as a teacher, you can say act as a social media manager, social media manager. You can say act as an accountant, act as an various roles, artists, poet. You can give that act as in. So internally what happens is it sets the context for the LLM when it processes it, when it processes your query, when it goes through the model. It helps it to come up with your answers in a better way. So if you haven't tried it yet, I think time to try that query. So I'll send you the query and you can try it. So far so good. Are you able to follow? Is there any doubt or question? ನೀವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ. Sorry, looks like we dropped off from the call. I'm back. I hope I'm audible. Okay, audio unmute. Okay, sorry. Looks like there was some glitch and uh, okay. So now can you try this prompt? And so far so good. Are you able to like parallelly try the queries and you are seeing the results? How many of you are able to try these queries and you are able to see those results? You can raise your hand. Yeah, please open the website and start trying these queries. And we are starting with very small, I mean simple queries, and we'll keep evolving and going to the higher order queries. Okay, I see some of you have tried and some of you have raised the hand. So it's fun. I mean, you don't have to even create the account. So if you have if you have opened the website, please go ahead and try. And even if you are on mobile phone also, it's okay. You can install the app ChatGPT and give it a try. Okay, now let's see what is the next one. Define the output format. So what happens is, when the GPT would have read so many things, right? It would have read blogs, it would have read books, it would have read some websites, it would have read some documents. So it has read so many things and it can produce output in so many ways. It can write a blog, it can create a Word document, it can create a PPT, it can create just a social media message. So we need to tell what type of output you want. It will not second guess. Otherwise, it will just, throw you bunch of bullet points and bunch of lines, and it will assume that you are going to ask it back. So informing GPT, saying what is the format of output, you, to an extent that you can also say that, oh, I need it in this form of this table, I need this in the rows, I need this in the columns. You can go to that extent. Let's say you can say, yeah, I would like to compare Infosys, TCS, HCL and Wipro in terms of their financial performance. I would like to compare their revenue growth year on year for last 3 years, where you organize the company name on the row and in the column you give year on year growth for last 3 years, right? So you can go to this level of specifics and tell exactly, do you want it in this format? I can say, and we use it a lot for our company Algorithms 365. We say we have this reel or we have this YouTube video in which we are explaining data structures for singly linked list. Please give us Instagram caption about this lesson. Please give us YouTube description for this lesson. And we use our software to convert our audio into text, and we take that audio to text, and we give it to GPT and say, give search engine optimized YouTube description for this transcript. So it generates beautiful transcript. To an extent, even what we did one experiment recently, we generated our lecture series transcript with timestamps. And we asked GPT saying, give us these timestamps and classify and group them into lessons. We are seeing around 70-80% accuracy. And it just takes one more manual review to make those fine adjustments. So it is doing things that even it's very difficult for us to imagine what it can do and what it cannot do. So psychologically, I am unlearning and learning myself to say, don't try to logically think whether it will do or not. You first ask it whether it will do. And if it doesn't work, you try to change prompt 1 or 2 times. And then you conclude that, okay, it's not yet ready to do it at that level. So by default, we should start assuming that, okay, GPT can do it. And then try it few times with different queries and prompt to say that, okay, it's not ready for that yet. So this psychological reorientation has to happen. I'm also going through that journey as we speak. So, but culturally in my organization, the first question I ask anybody is when they say, oh, I need to write this tool to generate offer letters, right? I say, did you try it on GPT first? Did you ask it to build a tool for you? So as leaders in the industry, we all have to do that switch in our mind to say that, okay, did you try? Did you use the right prompt? And somebody comes and say, no, it's not working. I go and look at the prompt. I go and check the prompt and see what it is. I'll tell you one more recent example for the output format again. So there was one article on some social issue for which a documentary was prepared. And the documentary article was written in English. And all of a sudden on that day, our the editor for Kannada was not keeping well and not reachable, and we needed it immediately. So one of the engineer used another GPT, Gemini, and we tried first ChatGPT, then we tried Gemini. We converted that from English to Kannada. But the Kannada that it used was very sophisticated. The words that it used were such that I'm from a Kannada medium school. I learned in Kannada medium school, and I was struggling to understand what it is saying. So then we tried 2-3 things, and finally what worked was very interesting. We had to tell that you are an editor of a Kannada local newspaper, daily newspaper. The language you will use has to be very simple that common people will understand. The language and the style has to be an editorial style of a Kannada newspaper. And then it came up with a brilliant article, and we didn't have to change a single word in that. So giving that additional context and what format you need that output really makes the huge difference. So next time you are trying these LLMs and GPT, please include these along with your queries and you will see that magic happen. So here, in this particular query, what is the output? Summarize machine learning in 3-column table: concept, analogy, and real life example. So let's try this. I'll send the query. You try it on your laptop or on your phone. I'm sorry, I took a very hardcore computer science topic here. I know that people are there from different backgrounds in this conference. So you can try this for anything. Summarize, you change the topic name if you want. You change the topic name and then it can try to give it this way. So in just a while ago, I mentioned something called reinforcement learning. You can see the analogy is like training a pet using rewards and punishments. This is what we were talking about. And real life example, self-driving cars learn to make better driving decisions through the trial and error. So very nicely, now in your query, you said you need 3 columns and these are the columns, and it is able to produce that results in that particular order. Okay, is this clear? So let's go to the next slide. Now, including constraints. So what does including constraints? So let's say a generic query, right? The generic query we are saying is write a poem about love. So this is a very generic query. So let's try this out first. I'm sure, I mean, I'm not sure if you have used it, but I have been using it from the time it has come. On our wedding anniversary is my wife's birthday. I use this and, compose some poems and send, or some songs. Now, I would like to tweak it a bit and put a constraint. The constraint is using only coding metaphors. So, coding metaphors, this word called using only coding metaphors is called a constraint. So you're drawing some boundary saying, okay, you generate this, but with this boundary in place. So let's try this and see how that poem would change. You are my favorite function I call every day in the loop of my heart. No bugs, no errors, just pure compiling bliss. So funny. So this is how creative you can get with some of these capabilities. So let me send the query. You can try it on your laptop. Okay, someone sent the output. Super. Sir, Dr. Mona Gupta. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Good. So, Mehul sir is saying, I made ChatGPT hallucinate multiple times deliberately on superposition of quantum mechanics. That was an enlightening moment for me. It was here and there both in the outputs. Super. So, let's get to the next example. Iterate like a pro. See, this is one thing I have learned is uh, you cannot give up. Like, you ask it once and don't give up in one time. So let's say you asked it to do something, then you read the output, you don't like, let's say, tonality of it, the narrative style, then you have to add on saying make it more emotional, make it more authentic. So what is happening is our own understanding of finding the sentiment of that writing style or the emotion in that writing style, we have to become descriptive. See, earlier what happened, let's say I'm writing, I got some email that offended me, and it was, putting some wrong allegations on me, and I lost my temperament. So you would end up writing very fiery email, correct? Now, with GPT, this is one thing that I have tried. Let's say you are in a conflict situation on either on a mail thread or on your apartment and resident association WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups, where usually the temperament and temperature is high, and somebody offended you and you have written a very fiery message, just gently copy it, give it to GPT, and ask it to make it more polite, right? So, by writing that way, your all anger and thing would get out of you, and then ask GPT to make it more polite and more more rational. And this has really worked. This has really worked in my favor. So you feel calm down, because since you vented out, you will feel calm down, but don't hit send. So generally, don't type it on that messaging app. You open Notepad and you type it in Notepad, and then you do this tonality change, and then you send it. So iterate like a pro. Basically, what it means is you may not get the right thing in one go, so you keep adding to it. You're saying make it more humble, make it more emotional. You can also say do it in a narrative storytelling, and you can also say do it with little humor, add little bit of humor to it. So try all those human emotions in your output and see in which context and which way where you want to apply it, and you will be stunned, you will be surprised at the results that it's able to produce. So the next one, so it's called the zero shot versus few shot prompting. So few shot prompting is where you are teaching AI by an example. See, I can say that, oh, write this very professional email to potential VCs who can give a funding for a company, right? They can write it that way. Or you can say that, I have this deck, the pitch deck, or I have this email that was referred as one of the good emails, pitch emails given by my mentors. So using this and using the PDF that I am attaching, please write a similar email. So the tone and the style it will use from that email, but the facts and the contents it will use from the document that you will attach, and it will generate that email. So here you are telling AI and educating it with some examples. And we have seen great results even with this. For example, I would look at, let's say, a script for our educational content done by one of our competitor, right? I would take that script and then I would say, using the script, please create another script for this content type, and it would do a magically, it does amazing job when you give a sample input. So this is called basically few shot prompting, where you are giving that output. So I'll send you the text. You can give it a try on your laptop. So here the example is, here are two examples of a polite rejection email. Write one reciting a rejecting a candidate who interviewed for the wrong position but was still impressive. So it's asking to write a email in which you have to turn down somebody, but it is giving something as a reference. So let's look at the next query. Chain of thought. So chain of thought prompting is basically where you are trying to say in what order that explanation should go. Let's say normal prompt. Solve a train travels at 120 miles in 2 hours. What is the speed? So you are just asking directly, oh, tell me the answer. Tell me what is the answer, right? So let's try this out. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's paid version, so it still want to do. It still want to do. Okay, it did still better. It still gave me some detailed steps, and it gave the answer. Now let's try. Now let's try the same query with chain of thought prompt. What is a chain of thought prompt? You have to say, let's solve step by step. First, define speed, list values, calculate, and then summarize. So this is the query. Now let's try this and see the change in output. Almost similar. But yeah, little bit more descriptive. It could also be because the one I'm using is a fully paid version. So probably it is the way it works is, say, for every processing, it has to spend some units to compute it. And whenever you're using like a unpaid version, the free version, right, it's very conservative. It's very conservative with how many cycles it will spend to produce the answer. So this is called what? This is called chain of thought prompting. Now let's see what is the next one. So role playing and simulation. So there was one example earlier, but this is something really, really has stunned the internet. I mean, you can't imagine that the Gen AI product can become your career coach, can become your buddy, can become your mental health coach. It is unimaginable how, I mean, it is very difficult for you to comprehend and understand that how come we just trained and built one neural network where we said, oh, if these two are the words, if these three are the words, one, two, three, and after that, this word has to come. This word has to come, right? The premise or the very foundation of all the Gen AI product is this, the correlation between these words. Based on these three words, it will say what should be the fourth word. And with this being the foundation, now it is able to tell, let's say, I am a fresh computer science graduate and I'm asking, you are my career counselor, and I don't know, should I build my career in AI or should I work on data science or data analytics or should I work on full stack? So I just graduated this year. Please, can you help me? These queries. Let's say another query that I'm going through, I'm not feeling well. Recently something has happened at workplace and I don't know how to share about this with others and I'm really struggling. Even these kind of things, it's able to handle them very maturely. Of course, there have been some bad incidents for which there have been huge pushback or even uproar on why certain things went this way, but slowly but steadily it's able to remain polite, listen to the person, understand their feeling, understand their emotions, and then counsel. But of course, the Gen AI doesn't have emotion. By the way, it is as purely, it is as foundational technology is this. The Gen AI internally, you can say make it polite. So it will make it polite. Does not mean that there is some emotion built into it. And some of these counseling queries are just mind blowing. Like, let's try this one. Let's try this coach. Act as a career coach. I'm stuck between a data scientist or a UX designer. Ask me 3 questions to help me decide, right? So let's have a live demo of this. So the first question, I think you all understood the question, right? The question is career coach and deciding between data scientist role or UX designer. UX is the user experience designer. So many companies have this UX designer role. Generally, people come from design school or degree in design and art. They help in designing the user experience for the software. So what excites you more, logic or empathy? Do you enjoy uncovering patterns in numbers and solving analytical puzzle, or do you love understanding people's emotions, behaviors, and how they interact with products? So this is the first question. What is the second question? How do you prefer to spend your work day? Work deeply with data, code, and algorithms, or sketch interfaces, test prototypes, and talk to users and make digital experiences? What kind of impact do you want to make? Do you want to drive business decisions using insights, or shape how people feel and behave using the technology? So let's say I'll go ahead and answer these questions. So the first one, what excites you more? And generally what I do is I just copy these like this and I paste them on the prompt and then I start editing the response. So what excites you the more? I'll say empathy. Then what would you do rather? Data, algorithms, interface test, talk users to make digital experience. Yeah. So I'll say talk to users to make this digital experiences more smoother? What kind of impact do you want to make? So I would like to shape how people feel and behave using technology. Now, of course, somebody from industry with long experience and all of that, this looks very obvious where it is heading. But think of a fresh graduate who is having these hundreds of thoughts. Some friend is doing this, some ex friend is doing that, and they are really getting confused whether to do full stack, whether to do DSA, whether to do UX. So look at the counseling that it's able to produce, right? So it's saying you are driven by empathy, connection, and improving human experience, right? So why UX design fits you? It gives the reason. You will combine creativity and psychology. You will work closely with people. You will get to see the emotional impact. Then it goes on to say next steps: learn the basics, build a small portfolio, practice storytelling, connect with mentors. Now finally it says, do you like me to create a personalized roadmap? So uh, I mean, if you are a career counselor, then you may be wondering that, oh, what will happen to my role? Right? So there are some of these roles where you will gain immense productivity. So maybe eventually what will happen, the first layer of counseling and filtering will be done by these agents, and then finally there will be some human to human talk, right? The initial counseling, the initial layer of counseling probably can be done by some of these going forward. So let me send the query, and please all of you try it on your laptop on your prompt. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Tree of thought. This is an interesting experiment. I don't know if you have tried. It's called tree of prompt, tree of thought prompting. It is like basically you're asking ChatGPT not to produce one output. You're asking it to produce multiple outputs and have a healthy comparison between them, and then politely, tell which one is better. And people who are from software or technology background, there is a huge debate now, in which language you have to write the backend, right? So you can use Python and Django, or you can use Java and Spring Boot, or you can use Golang. So let's say, think of three possible answers and explain each, then pick the best one. So I will take this query. This is an interesting query. Let's see that how it will handle. Let's say I am a I am a software architect and have to make a decision on building our scalable backend services. Think of three possible answers, explain each, then pick the best one. Okay, let's see. Now you can see that it says thinking for longer for a better answer, because the question is complex. So it has to choose three backend platforms and then compare, and then finally recommend which is the best one. Modular and monolith architecture, Spring Boot, Fast API and SJS, microservices on containers and Kubernetes. So service stack, then it's also giving comparison, and then serverless event driven. So based on that, it is able to make some recommendation. So it first went and searched what are the different architectural patterns, and then you have to also give a context saying maybe, hey, I'm just a startup with only 2 or 3 developers. We just have less than 100,000 customers. So if you give little bit more context, then your answer of course will be better. But this technique of saying come up with 3 answers or 3 solution and then also figure out which is better is a technique that you can apply. So this is basically a technique called meta prompting. When in doubt, ask AI how to ask AI. I'm sure, I don't know if you have tried this. So basically, it's saying when in doubt, ask AI how to ask AI. See, in this lesson, in this session, we are all learning how to use Gen AI to complete our tasks, right? Let's say I'm stuck, I'm badly stuck, and I'm not getting the output that I want. So, what do? You ask it basically, okay, I want to do this task. You tell me, you give me how to ask. It means you say, give me the prompt to do this work. So here is my current prompt. Write a funny bio, suggest how I can make it more engaging. So write a funny bio, suggest how I can make it more engaging. AI becomes your prompt coach, kind of like asking Google how to Google better. See, in Google, if I asked how to use Google search better, it would have given you some blog link of somebody who would have written this article. But in all Gen AI products, they can also start explaining to you how to use it in a better way. So I'll show you a quick demo of this. So this is an you can call it as an unbelievable prompt, okay? And you'll be stunned. You'll be stunned at the result. Write a prompt. So this is how you ask it. You say write a prompt which creates an educational document on Gen AI usage. Prompt should have all of these. It's meant for people from education, teaching, administrative, finance, marketing backgrounds. They have basic understanding of Gen AI tools. This should help them become prompt experts and increase their productivity. And you say assign a role or persona, provide context, define output format, include constraint, include example. You remember all the titles of our slides, right? So all those slides, and then you say write me a prompt. Now when you run this, the chat GPT will give you the prompt. I'll say Gen AI prompts only, okay? Otherwise it will become very generic. I'll say prompts should show various techniques to improve results, and rest of the things will keep it same, okay? So we are asking ChatGPT to give us the prompt. Now let's see. So this is the prompt. This is the prompt that it has produced, and it's adding every element. It's adding context, it's adding persona. You are an AI educator and productivity coach. Goal is to create a document explaining this. Your audience has basic understanding. Output format. Output format, introduction to prompting, foundation of good prompting, prompt engineering techniques, role based prompting, chain of thought, all of that, right? So in fact, so you can see that we are applying that multiple techniques we learned. So what was the, it is telling the persona, yes, saying you are an AI educator. Your goal is to create an educational document. Then your audience has a basic understanding of Gen AI. So this is the context part. Then output format. In the output format, we are saying generate a well-structured educational document with introduction, foundation, prompt engineering techniques, advanced techniques, common mistakes, practical use cases, conclusion and next steps. And then constraints. Keep the language simple, clear, and engaging. You remember the constraints where you will put some boundaries. You will say language has to be simple, clear, and engaging, suitable for professionals and not for AI researchers. Avoid technical jargons. Include examples for every technique. Use short paragraphs and bullet points. Maintain a positive, empowering tone. focus on how AI can make work smarter and easier. Examples include bad prompt, improved prompt, bad prompt, improved prompt. So it's giving certain examples. Now, final instruction. End the document with prompt practice lab. Would you like me to now generate the full educational document using this prompt? So I will send you this prompt and all of you please try it on your laptop and let's see the result. Okay, I'm also telling GPT, I'm asking it to go ahead. Okay, it asked me, should I generate? I said yes. So it will take some time. Let's wait. So based on that prompt, now see the detailing. So it started with basics, then its foundation, rule, context, output, and constraint, description and example. So what is the formula? Role, context, task, format, and constraint. So if you include all these elements, then your prompt is better. Then here is a role based prompting. So it's saying act as an economics professor. Step by step reasoning, chain of thought, format specific style and tone control, iterative prompting, advanced prompting. Show few examples before asking. Multi-turn refinement. So you say summarize the report and then you'll say now make suitable for newsletters. System and role prompting. Common mistakes. Write about marketing is a mistake. Instead of that, you can say act as a marketing expert. Write 150 word LinkedIn post. Right? So you can see the depth and the clarity in which this whole lesson has come out. And this can be a very good blog, and it can also eventually you can make slides out of it, right? So then you can say convert this to a PPT. That same document. Now it will start understanding and then creating PPT. So here GPT will give you very textual form of PPT, and now there are other GenAI tools where it will start even creating the slides for you. So let it generate in parallel. I hope, did you all try that prompt I sent? The very detailed prompt I had posted in the chat. Can you please raise your hand if you tried that and you are able to see the output? I would like to see how many of you could try this really long prompt. And are you surprised, or are you really, how did you feel seeing that? How did you feel looking at the output of it? You will feel, right, suddenly, oh my God, I was like sitting on a gold mine, and I've been sitting on a gold mine, and I didn't knew how to dig this gold, dig this gold and get it out, right? So you all must be feeling like, you got that KGF, like that Rocky boy in KGF. He says, no, there is not even one mine. There are total 9 mines. He figures out that it was like 3 of 9 something. So he said, there are 9 mines, and I'm going to dig every mine and dig all the gold out from KGF, right? So you must be feeling like that Rocky boy now, that there is so much gold within ChatGPT that we all can benefit from. Okay, some more examples and some more demos. Let's continue. So this is the prompt that it generated. Now, AI agents. See, what's happening is, I think I'm not sure if you're all there in that .com bubble. So when internet was picking up, the thousands of companies were started which just did one website. Let's say somebody is selling flower, they'll do flowers.com. Somebody is selling cakes, they'll do cakes.com. So somewhere in that 1999 and 2000, there was this recession that hit very badly. It was called dot-com bubble, because over the night so many companies got funded and VCs were just crazily pumping in money. So many startups came along, and then finally they realized that not every website will make money, and 99% of them all, you know, became bankrupt and funding stopped, and then there was a huge collapse and a recession. I somehow feel this AI and agentic AI madness is also slowly getting there, because I meet often youngsters. They have built just a simple AI agent to do certain task, and they would not see that big picture, and they will think that, oh, they now have a product on which they can build a company and sell it. See, the building AI agents is almost going to become like any non-computer science graduate will also build one. You can be from non-CS, non-IT background, and you should be able to build an agent. It will almost become like a no-code or low-code work. And many people have this confusion. Okay, what does an agent and how does an agent look like, and what is an AI agent? So let's quickly understand, because this has become like a really buzzword, and there is a lot of confusion around this. So what we used right now is, you have a product, a GPT product, and you have a input text box here, right? For anything that I want to accomplish, I always have to go and type here or copy paste, right? Or paste something, and then wait for it to respond, and then again take that output, and then probably, save it as a file, or save it in a PPP, in a PDF, or save it in a PPT. This is what we do, and we do it manually, right? So let's say there is a task that has to be done repetitively. Let's say admissions are going on, and every day at 8 p.m. you have to look into your admissions report and send a brief summary to your principal, HOD, and your management, telling them that how many admissions happened today, how much generally we are charging, how much money was credited to the account, something like this. Now, that Excel sheet is available to you. So if you ask your, let's say, account department to do it, then what has to happen? That every day the person will come, first download the Excel sheet. They'll download that Excel sheet from, say, their email or Teams or cloud, and then they upload it to GPT, right? And give a prompt saying, create a summary, create a brief summary for this report, and then it will generate the summary. Take the text, paste it on email, and then hit send, right? So this is what we are doing right now. Now with agents, what can happen is, this whole thing can be automated. How? What is an agent? Agent here is, see, if you are people who are Matrix fan, there's a famous movie called Matrix, right? You would have watched that agents all over that Matrix movie. It is not really as hi-fi as that. Agent is nothing but a few lines of code. What does that agent do? It is nothing but a program, right? So it is nothing but a program or a code. It knows how to talk. So it will first talk to your cloud where that Excel file is there, right? So it will first, what it will do, it will download that Excel file. Then second step, it will upload that Excel file to GPT, whatever it is, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, it will upload that file. Then it will send a request. In that request, it will have that prompt. Whatever prompt that person was using, it will have that prompt. So it will send the request. Then it will wait. It will wait for the response, and it will get the response back. So it will get the response back, and after that, the agent will talk to a mail client. It will talk to a mail client, and whatever this response has come, it will trigger an email with body and plus that summary. So that summary will be attached to that, and an email is triggered. Now this code can be put on the laptop or on the machine or in the cloud to say that run this every day at 8 p.m. Or you can also say, whenever I want, I'll create one small website, I hit run, you should run on demand. So this is what is all about agents. See, the agent as a concept exists in software industry, and I come from engineering systems where I help build backend infrastructure for Bing and Teams. The entire validation system was based on agents. When developers checks in the code, the companies like say Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they all have agents that take the code, compile the code, build the code, deploy the code, test the code, verify the code, run the security check, run the non-functional test check, functional test, then take it to the next level, run it there, see if there are any errors. So there are multiple agents. Those agents were, we used to call them test agent, security agent, deployment agents. Now, in this case, it's a Gen AI agent, because here this Gen AI product or this API is in loop. Now, it don't have to be one shot. It could call once, then it would call someone, some other API, Gen AI, generative API, or it can refine the output. All of that is possible. It can make one request or n request or multiple requests. That doesn't matter. Now, I will show you a simple agent code that I have written so that it really brings amazing clarity to you. So, we wrote for some of our interns, we wrote this agent which generates the motivational quote. Okay, so this is the code. I'll just show you the agent code. Okay, so that you really know that, hey, this is nothing but a simple piece of code. Okay, so this code was written in Python, and this is just the documentation. I'm not reading through the code. I'll just show you. There is a model here where we are setting up the client. So here we are basically setting that API key to call the Gen AI product. Then this is the prompt. So the prompt that you are seeing in your web UI, now that prompt is hard coded in the code. You are the AI motivational quote agent for IT students, targeting Mang and Fang roles. Mang is that all Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. So these companies. Persona. What is a persona? Mentor like, concise, specific, and encouraging. Output 2 parts: motivation 2 to 3 line and preparation snippet 3 to 5. Concrete advice: avoid fluff, keep it under 120 words. And context is the student name, focus area, companies Mang and Fang. And the output format is this. So whatever that we were learning on the web UI, now same is hard coded inside the code like this, and that same prompt is sent over API call. So this is the code. Like the way in browser you went and typed something and then you got the response. To do that programmatically, this is the code. That's it. This is the driver code. And all together, from the driver code to this wrapper code for the creating that prompt, to this code which actually talk to the client. So this is the code, self.client. This is the API given by OpenAI. They have given a client library, and this is the call. So, hardly if you add all of that, it is less than 100 lines of code. And I did not write a single line of it. It was again written by ChatGPT. So, and this is what an agent look like when you look it in the form of code. So don't have any confusions about agents. It just has become a buzzword, and people will say, oh, agent will take your job, agent will replace you. So agent is just a program which we can do manually. It can be asked to do so many number of times. You can schedule it, you can trigger it on demand, and it will not complain. It will not ask for salary hike. It will not get bored. That is the crux of it. Now let's move on to one more interesting demo. And this is an unbelievable demo. So there is this website. If you haven't tried, I suggest you use this website called lovable.dev. I'll send you the website link in the Teams. So how are we doing on time? 9:07, right? I think it's still 9:30. Yeah, we have. So I just wanted to check how are we doing on time and how many minutes we have. I think 9:30. Okay, still 23 minutes. So this is an example. This is a demo that will blow your mind. So get ready. So this is how I will use it, and let me see if you can see the complete demo. Okay, so let's get started. I'm using my microphone of the laptop. Okay, so I'll be talking and giving the prompt initially. So there is this dictate button here. There's the dictate button. So press the dictate button and I'll dictate it to my laptop. Okay, let's get ready and get going. Create a prompt to give it to generative AI tools like Lovable to build a very modern, sleek, and React based website. The website is about Jain University, which is one of the leading university in India. Do a deep research on this university to see their campuses, colleges, its history, its origin, its management, and what courses it offers and its contribution. Do a thorough research and organize the information into 2-3 pages. Build a very modern looking React application which is tablet friendly, mobile friendly, and desktop friendly. The application should have smooth transitions, smooth animations to show details about this college. Create this prompt to be given as an input to another GenAI product. So let's see. So what I gave a dictation asking it to study about Jain University, and I gave certain things like it should look modern, fluid, it should use for the React app. I gave some context, technical context, and I say enter. So let's see what it will generate. ಏನಂತ? Okay. So right now it's searching for Jain University sports, research, admissions. So it's now growing through its knowledge base, first trying to do the research, right, and gather all the information. Okay. So now you can see prompt to generate the modern React website for Jain, deemed to be university. So here it's saying you are a senior React UI engineer, product engineer, build a fast modern this, tech framework. It is telling lot of details, then site structures, academic, and okay. Now it's giving the content. So now the content is showing up. Identity, its origin, leadership, campuses, programs, research, page layout components. So in that now it's trying to lay down the structure of the page. A plus credited innovation driven university in Bangalore, from foundational learning to world class research. Campuses, academic and admissions. Why study here? Visual system. So it's giving some JSON output. Copy tone. Authoritative, warm, student friendly. Deliverables, citations. Okay. So now it generated a prompt. So it's saying now ChatGPT is saying, do you want me to build the website? I'm going to not use ChatGPT. I'll use the other website because it is really amazing and you will be blown away by the results. So let's copy this prompt and go here and just paste that prompt here. Okay, and then let's see the magic happen. So like this, like say some of the software development work that was like very simple. See, the simple website development, building simple forms, services that probably few hundred people will use, or say even thousands of people will use that and all. Even if you are a non-engineer, if you know few technical terms, right, like front end, back end, React, if you know certain things, you can definitely build such things without writing single line of code. We are almost there where you don't have to write single line of code, but knowing coding will help you. See, when while it still generates this code for us and build that website, I would like to give certain examples. So then you may say that, oh, if it is doing all this, then why do we need software engineers, right? Why do we need programmers? And this understanding, this question has been haunting everybody, academicians, educational leaders, students, and everybody is worried. And this year, the placement rates have substantially dropped, and they are connecting both and thinking, oh, maybe just because of AI only this whole thing is happening, right? So there are multiple other factors that are also playing role into this. Of course, AI has played a major role, but to understand this situation and really connect with it, I'll give you one analogy, and which a lot of you can relate. So let it do its job, and I would like to drive your attention to one thing called robotic surgery. So what is so special about robotic surgery? So people who don't know about this, just a little bit of context. So in many hospitals in Bangalore, we'll see robotic surgery for XYZ, right? See, the doctors, we have skilled surgeons. There is a shortage of skilled surgeons in India or even all over the world, and many of these surgeons were spending 8 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours in operation theaters, or even more longer, and they were working very long hours back to back, and it was really exhausting. And what would happen is, if somebody is stretched so thin physically, right, then they cannot deliver the results in a good way. So slowly, to reduce that strain on them, some of this work, they started using robots. So one of the robot, I have seen a demo where a surgeon is sitting actually with that device, and surgery is being performed there by the robot, but surgery is controlling it in a very fine way. The stress and the strain that surgeon has to go through has substantially reduced. Now, tell me, would you be comfortable to enter an operation? You or anybody, I'm not saying you, any human, any person, would they be comfortable entering an operation theater where only a couple of nurses are there and robot is there to do your surgery? Would that ever work? Is the first question. Second, if we want to produce top class robotic surgeon, can we produce them without them becoming a surgeon first who can perform manually that surgery? And what if the machine breakdown happen? Should the surgeon be capable of doing that surgery manually and finishing it off? So why I'm giving this example is very easy to understand from anybody, that I have to become a surgeon first. I should be able to know how to operate manually. Then I can take help of robots to reduce the strain on me and probably perform that surgery more accurately and with better speed, right? Similarly, all this innovation that's happening in the space of generative AI, especially for people like software engineers, it will increase your productivity. It will make you learn things faster. It will help you build things faster. But before that, I need to know coding. I need to know how to write code. I need to know how to read code. I need to know how to build software. I need to know what are the frameworks. I need to know a lot of things. Only when I become that, then I can use these products to scale up my productivity. So if you have met students and anybody who is little confused, please share this analogy with them, and it will help. Now let's see, your website is ready. While we finish that talk, let's see, I'll publish it also, so that I'll send the link and you all can experience the website as we speak. It's publishing the website. Okay. So I'm sending the freshly minted website for Jain University. All of you try this out on your phone and on your machine. Okay, let's see. How's the website? Explore programs, accreditation, NIRF ranking deemed to be university, 5,000 plus research publications, startups incubated, UG programs, our diverse programs from engineering to commerce to science and law. View all programs, our campuses, various campuses here, research excellence and startup incubation, sports. Our alumni have represented India, so there's few details about the alumni, and then the contact details. Now there are multiple touch points here, right? Like say this is the home page. Now there is an academics page. So there is an academics page where you can say download brochure or start the application. So right now it has not implemented that start application. Let's go back to the home page. Let's say explore programs. So why study at Jain? Program clusters. These are UG programs and the PG programs. Okay, need to add the tabs. So you can see the power. You can see the power of generative AI and how simple things can be built with right prompting and right understanding. So I hope this session was useful and helpful. So thank you all for listening for so long, and I would like to take some questions if we have time. Current, very good question. So I'll rephrase the sir's question. Sir's question is, can a student ask in the, sir, correct me if my understanding is wrong. Sir is asking, can a student ask question in the form of voice? Will the tool able to completely understand it and also probably respond back in voice? Sir, it is right now, the thing is, it's in bits and pieces. Say for example, in like our own company, I have this very tedious task. So I recorded my lessons in Kannada. Okay. And they're all recorded in Kannada to begin with. We are doing for other languages. Now for that lesson, I want to generate descriptions. I want to generate questions. I want to generate description to be put on YouTube. And I want to create assignments, right? I want to do all of that. Right now, if I just upload that video file to GPT and say, oh, do all this for me, it will not do. So right now, the way it works is I have to first take that video file and separate out the audio and video into two files. Now this process doesn't use any AI. This is simple software to do it. Now this audio which is in Kannada, I have to give it to one particular. We tried few tools and know which is better. So I will not name those things right now, but we used one of the APIs which is good in doing this Kannada voice to text. Then we took this text input and then gave it back to GPT saying you generate the notes and that entire transcript in, let's say, English. And then we took this English text and gave it to another LLM and said, now can you generate a voiceover for it? So right now what is happening is, if you want to accomplish that complex task, like you said, you hit one model, you hit one GPT, you give certain input, you get back output. You take that and pass it on to the next one. Then you pass it on to the next one. And this is where a framework has become very famous in recent times. Is called N8N. So what it does is it helps you build this chain of commands. It will say this is input and this is output, and this output will go as an input to another GPT, and from here it will go to the another. So this right now this complex task requires different LLMs, and you have to do that. And this is where these all engineers who are correct. This has become very lucrative business. This one, just figuring out for this task which works better, and trying those things and then putting them together to form a complete solution. I'll tell you one best example, a startup that the founder I know, he's also an ex Microsoft leader. A lot of these customer calls where they just call them and record, just give their complaints in voice. So his company is all focused on for all Indian languages, 18 languages. They are able to convert those voice calls into text and that text into analytics and analytics into report and a summary, which will have like sentiment analysis, feature suggestions, broken systems, all of that, and this automated report goes to the management. Now this just plumbing all of them together, trying out things and putting it together forms a company. It creates a company. So yeah. Sir, I hope that answered your question. The answer to your question is we may not be there yet, but we are there in parts of it. One company is good in one thing, voice to text. One company is good in text to audio. One company is good in generating response. So then you have to try them all together and build a product. Any other question? So I think we have 5 more minutes. So Dr. Mona Gupta is saying, can we have your PPT shared with us? Sure, sure. I'll just share the PPT. Okay, I cannot attach it here, I think. So I'll send it to the organizer. They'll email it to you. So somebody's asking, can we do a research paper with AI? Oh my God. So this is another scenario that you should see it, and it is just mind blowing. So go to GPT, and this has been very, very helpful for me. So here, and you will find this feature in other tools also. You see something called deep research. I hope you are able to see it. So go to deep research. Okay. Now I'll give a prompt. Do a deep research on which backend framework to use. I am confused between whether to use Python with Django or Java with Spring Boot or use Golang. I have heard very conflicting reviews and I am trying to build a learning management system and an educational website in which millions of students will come and practice coding and learn data structures and algorithms. They will learn about technology, they'll practice coding and watch our courses. Suggest a platform that can scale for next 10 years. At the same time, I want it to be operationally very frugal and cost us less to run it on the cloud. Most likely we will host it on Azure cloud and it should be compatible with Azure. And please do a deep research and give some examples of cost analysis, especially in terms of scale and cost. For example, to handle millions of requests, how much of compute would be needed if it is hosted on, let's say, Azure or AWS. You can also create a table comparing both for million requests per month. So this is the prompt. Now I click the deep research button. Okay. So deep researchers is chosen and this is the prompt. Let's give the prompt. It will take some time, but the kind of document it will produce, I'll again send the PPT and this document, and you will be really stunned and surprised at the results. Of course, it is asking some clarification questions. It's saying traffic breakdown. Do you expect millions of? Okay, let's quickly answer these. So its first question, it's saying traffic breakdown. Do you expect millions of students to be active concurrently? Okay, so we will say no, it's not concurrently. We'll say monthly. Okay, and concurrently maybe 10% of that, right? Workloads, what kind of workloads will be most frequent? Video streaming, interactive. You can say make best guess. Even I don't know, so I am asking it to do a best guess. Are there any preferences? I'll say coding preferences. I'll say no. Answer is no. Then database strategy. Do you plan to use relational database? So I'll say you suggest. Okay. Last one, geographical distribution. I'll say India. That's it. So it asked few questions. I answer those few questions. It will produce a very detailed research on this and we'll get back the report. Okay. So any other question? It will take it. I'll send this document along with the PPT. PPT and this document. I'll send it to the organizer. They'll share it with you. So it'll take a few minutes to produce. So let's go to the teams and see if there are any questions here. So Dr. Sushma ma'am, very informative session. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for your appreciation. Abhishek sir, thank you. Dr. Jerin Joseph, thank you. Rachna ma'am, thank you. Joseph sir, thank you. Mona Gupta ma'am, thank you. So thanks for all the kind appreciations. I'm just reading those messages. I hope your evening was well spent, and I hope this was exciting and useful to all of you. Looking forward to collaborate and work with your university to upskill students, and our company's vision is to skill about 1 million students and even faculty, so that by 2047 we all can see Vikasit Bharat. Thank you. Namaste. And have a great evening.